It's your boy, Mr. HandCrafted, and welcome to the I Don't Know Shit podcast. We have a returning guest, Mr. Councilman Vincent Earl Jones-Dixon, or Kamakulani Earl Jones-Dixon.
Jones-Dixon, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Welcome, sir. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's extremely early right now. I'm glad you came by.
The early bird catches a worm, right?
Absolutely. Them is hustling terms. That's not for politics, brother.
I know. Or it's the fact that I have 2 kids and a wife, and that's the only time I can get meetings in.
Yeah.
Or not even meetings, do activities for myself.
That works, okay. The big win, how was it, man? Tell me about it. Like, where were you at? Like, what was it like? Did you guys have a party?
We didn't. We had a small gathering with our campaign team, and then folks that have worked on the campaign. So it was myself and Eddie Morales, who's going for mayor, and then Dina DiNucci. She's
did he get it?
They're still counting the votes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So right now he is about 112 votes behind Travis Stovall. And what's up next is we have to go and chase ballots or what have you. So the incomplete ballots, we get to go. They're going to send out a letter to everyone that had incomplete ballots, and then we get to go and encourage them to complete it so their vote will count for Eddie. And that is crazy because that same thing happened to him 2 years ago when he ran for city council. Initially, it showed that he lost, and then he went and chased it like 500 ballots, and he won by 58 votes. Because he got about a little over 150 signs.
Oh, so he was sitting on city council already.
Currently, yeah, he is.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw those cards that you sent. Like, what was that about?
Which cards?
His DUI and all that shit. Like, what was that?
His opponents, they posted they were just doing a smear campaign. That's politics. People do whatever they can to win.
I was reading some of that shit. I was like, nigga, I can never run for politics.
I think the cool thing about Eddie, or the great thing about Eddie, is the fact that he's embraced everything that he's been through in his past. He doesn't deny any of that. But at the same time, he's done a lot, and that was before he was even in politics. They were talking about stuff that happened like 20 years ago. So he doesn't sweep anything under the rug. He embraces everything, and he's honest. So
that's crazy.
If you go into politics, you have to fully embrace your past.
But that was that was over almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah. What I heard, when you first go into politics, you should list out everything that people can pull up and then have a response ready for it.
I low key that's just like
Yeah.
I think people call that the Eminem theory or some shit like that. You know how he was in 8 Mile, and at the very last battle, he was he was rapping, but he said in his battle.
Oh yeah, about himself.
He was saying everything negative there was to say about him, to almost not give what is it you can say now? And so it does work that way sometimes, for sure.
Yeah.
But how does it feel, man?
Yeah, it feels great. I'm relieved that it's over as far as the campaign is concerned. I was leading up to the campaign. I was extremely nervous because we had 4 opponents.
Okay.
For my
I didn't realize that there was that many people running. I literally thought it was just you and one other person.
That's a good sign. In this, you never say your opponent's name. But I was just nervous because I didn't know, because you have folks that would split the votes, meaning if you have other folks that that are in alignment with your same values, your same thing, there's a potential that they would vote for them instead of you. But we won by quite a bit. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I think it's 6,000, 5,000 votes or something like that.
That's what's up. So he wasn't making Gresham great again, unfortunately. Sorry, brother.
Yeah. He still will. The door's still open for him to contribute. It'll always be open, and we're better together. So
that works. I like that attitude. What is now that you're on the city council? What is one of your big goals?
Yeah, police reform.
Police reform
And public safety. And then just learn. We have the key issues in Gresham right now is obviously COVID, and then we're in the middle of a budget crisis where there's a $13 million shortfall, so we have to come up with solutions for that. And then restoring trust within the city. Okay. So we're we're going to be hiring an equity consultant. And then obviously police reform or public safety. Truly, when I think police reform, I think of defining what does community policing look like, or community safety. What does that look like for us in Gresham, and the methods that we go about achieving that. So that's my main focus. That's the thing that I'm excited about.
So I do have a couple more it's not like I wouldn't say like serious questions, but it's just like, for me, like when I think about politics and I think about people trying to like change the world for the better, I don't feel like you are the first person to be like, nigga, I'm about to change this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, most people say in politics, eventually everybody ends up getting bought out in a way. It's like, what makes you different? Like, why do you feel like your voice is going to make a difference as opposed to all these different people that have came before you? Because people have been fighting for police reform and shit since Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Since, even if you go back to like Booker T. Washington and like, you know what I mean? Like this is not a new fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what is it about Vincent that's gonna make a difference?
Yeah. The thing, it's not about me, it's about we. Okay. So I'm very intentional about including other people in the conversations. Okay. I don't have all the answers. I believe collectively we do. Okay. So we have the community. When I say we, I mean i.e. the community of folks that have traditionally not been a part of those conversations. And then also working with those that are in power now, as far as the police force and what have you. And collectively we will find that solution. And
do you feel like the police have the police admitted that there's even an issue?
No.
So,
and that's a blanket. In Gresham, actually, they have, they have, but we have to go deeper. I think we just scratched the surface.
Right.
Yeah. For me, it's the methods that we use to achieve. That's what needs to be addressed. And they haven't fully embraced that yet, or we haven't even had that conversation. I need to have that direct conversation with them about it.
Like, for me, I can't sit here and say, like, I've had a bunch of terrible encounters with the police. Usually when I got pulled the fuck over, I was doing something I shouldn't have fucking been doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna lie. So for me, I don't have that story where police are terrible. They like, I had one experience where I was driving over by Jeff and I was in a red Avenger and I had a cop pull up behind me. And they do this thing sometimes where they'll like speed up and kind of like hit their brakes and kind of make you swerve or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like it's like they're trying to make you commit a traffic violation so they have a reason to pull you over. And I think in their head was like, nigga, you in that red car ain't got no business over here. You know what I'm saying? But for me, that's the only. And I mean, when they hit wifey's car. Yeah. But other than that, I don't have like these other stories like other people. But, I mean, just because that's not my reality don't mean that's not other people and the majority's reality.
Right, right.
And so for me, it's just like, with any bad situation, I feel like, unless there's a problem first admitted, I don't feel like there's any room for real growth.
I agree. And that's what I'm looking to change.
Okay.
Yeah. Or find a solution.
How are we going to go about that?
It's starting with the conversations. Okay. So you have to address...
I feel like people are sick of talking, though. Like, haven't we been talking about shit for a long ass time? Nigga, we've been marching and fucking talking forever.
I think it's one thing, it's to talk about it and then also to have a collective commitment as far as finding the solution that fits us in Gresham. So when you think, that's my thought. I can't share any examples yet because we're going...
No. By all means, yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Before you came on or whatever, we were having a conversation about this book that I'm listening to. I'm not reading it. I wish I would have read it. Because
is it his voice? Maybe.
It's so.
Break it down for it.
Listen, all right. So that's another problem I got with this mother lover, bro. Check this out. Sorry.
It must be his voice because I didn't listen to that.
So listen, it's a.
Tell them what it is.
All right. So first of all, I'm part of this like junior management team at work, right? And me and a couple other leads. And, like, the managers, like, we'll get together, we'll read books and shit like that. One of the books that we're reading is by a gentleman by the name of David Goggins.
Right.
It's like, I forgot the actual name of the book.
How to be a Navy...
No, it's not.
That's the first book that he wrote.
Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a clean version and then there's, like, an edited version, right?
Right.
And I'm listening to the Audible version. Audible is dope as hell. Just with me doing all my business stuff, I don't really have much time to sit down and read books anymore. I just don't. So
plug for Audible.
So boom, right. So check that out. When I'm listening to this book and the way it's formed is, it's formed as a podcast like read along. So basically, what it is this white dude, reading the book,
and then he'll ask questions, right?
And then he'll talk to David Goggins at the end of each chapter, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe this is petty for me, but nigga, this white boy keeps saying nigga and nigger. Yes, bro.
But that's what he's.
I don't give a mother lover, bro. For me, and so for me, it's like
I get what you're saying.
It's hard to. All right, yes, bro. And you keep saying it, and he eventually said it's hard for me to read it. Then don't read it, motherfucker. What the fuck you talking about?
I didn't see. Maybe I didn't get to.
He was saying. So it's David Goggins talking about his experience in growing up in a predominantly white area.
Yeah.
And his run-ins with different white people and them calling him nigger and shit like that. And it's just for me. So when I read that and I'm hearing this white boy read it, like my fucking
white man.
White man. Yeah, that do sound hella disrespectful. A white man read this white gentleman, Caucasian male, European male,
not African American.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be rude or whatever. Sorry, that did come off rude. When I heard that, I had just got done listening to 50 Cent's book also, and it's like hustle harder, hustle smarter.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, in this book, he was explaining how. He's just explaining his life and how he went from music and then how he realized once music was over, he was going to have to find a different lane and how he got into television and wanted to get in production and he did movies and stuff like that, and how he was scared to make certain movies because he didn't want to get that stigma of being like having a black movie or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so like he was saying with Get Rich or Die Trying, even as diverse, he had a great director, producer. It wasn't just a bunch of black people. It was a very diverse group of people, people with very lots of credentials. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, he still got put in this box. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, like, when I was reading that, I was like, damn, maybe did he have a white dude read it, or did he not read it just so that he didn't, get put in that box of having a black book? And for me, it's like, damn, do we have to go as far as letting a white dude read our story to make that shit resonate with people? Like for me, I'm not gonna lie, it bothered me. It was annoying. Like I've been in situations where I've gotten called nigger and shit like that. Like that's just not for me, when I hear a white person say it, it sends something through you. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's not me just trying to be macho. Mm-hmm. I don't fight every white person I hear say the word. Mm-hmm. But it does make me feel some type of way. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's just it would have resonated different if I would have heard, brother, hear his story from his mouth.
So is that the reason why you don't like?
Nah, and it's not even that I don't like it. It just seems like I feel like people in life make it seem like it's just supposed to be you're supposed to have a mom and a dad, you grow up in a house, and it's just supposed to be roses and all these different things. For me, the shit that he had, mother would have died for.
Okay. You need to share with them who David Goggins is.
David Goggins
in the book itself.
So David Goggins is a Navy SEAL. He was a gentleman that grew up in, I think it was Indiana. Mm-hmm. And basically he grew up with, his father was an alcoholic. He was a pimp. He was abusive.
A business owner, too.
He was a business owner. He owned a skate ring, but he also was sending girls all over the state and stuff like that. And his dad had a lot of pool, and he had a lot of famous friends that used to come by the skating ring and stuff like that. He was the guy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so David Goggins talks about his traumatic experience as a child, and how he used to watch his mom get beat, and how he used to get hit on and stuff like that. And I told you I was nervous to say this shit, but for me, it's when
continue to paint the picture of what the book is about.
So the book is, I haven't finished the book completely.
Okay.
But for me, it was basically, he ended up going through life and kind of becoming. So I was telling you the other day that I had a friend write a book named Wait. Mm-hmm. He had got to that point of wait. Mm-hmm. He just was in limbo. He was just not knowing what he was going to do with himself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was he had got super overweight.
Yeah.
He had got like 300 pounds. He had found himself in a job where he was having to kill cockroaches. He had became an exterminator essentially.
Yeah,
and he got the job because he found out he could get a free truck, and it wasn't like heavy, like a lot of hours. Like he was looking for what it seemed like an easy life, an easy way out.
Yeah, and that's David Goggins.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
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 And so like eventually he got to a point where he said he had gotten to I think it was a restaurant, and it was so gross. It was roaches are all over the place, and like he went to go like start spraying something, I think, and he said there was roaches started raining from the ceiling and was just getting in his clothes, and it was just like it disgusted him, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm sick of this. I ain't like. He was like, I forgot what happened, what triggered his mind to make him want to become a Navy SEAL, but something happened where he was like, I'm done. I want something different for myself. Eventually, he ended up, I think, wanted to become a Navy SEAL, but he had to find like a recruiter that would like take him and shit like that. Like, no one really took him serious. He was like 300 and something pounds. To become a Navy SEAL or even get in the Navy, I think you have to be a certain weight class or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, he ended up finding a recruiter that took him serious, and basically was like, he had 3 months, I think it was, to lose. I think it was like 115 pounds or 100 and something pounds. 3 months, and he ended up doing it. He ended up losing, I think, almost like 200 or I don't know. He lost a lot of freaking weight or whatever. He ended up becoming that guy to become that he needed to become that Navy SEAL. So he finally goes into, I think what it is like boot camp or whatever like that. And like, he basically ends up getting injured the first time. Had to get sent home, tried to come back, and was like, you can come back, but you have to start all the way from the beginning. He ended up doing that 3 times. Right. And then ended up eventually passing through or whatever. These trainings and the shit that he had to put himself through was mentally and physically hard. Yeah. Like Navy SEALs go through some of the toughest training that there is, like human, like mentally and physically. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they literally have to like get drowned and shit like that. Like you know what I mean? Like it's some tough shit. Yeah. And so for me, like when I'm reading it, it's like it almost sounds like, for me, it just sounds like, I don't know. It's like, I think eventually he had a kid. And then, all right, so I'll keep going. And he, like, after he eventually passes through, and then after he passes through, he ends up getting to a point where he wants, like, he was asking him, something like, what should he do now or something like that. And basically he told him to go run, like, 100-mile marathon or some shit like that. And within, like, 3 days training, I think the dude told him he should do that on a Wednesday, and that race was like on a Saturday or some shit like that. And he ended up doing it with no preparation whatsoever.
What's that for the Navy? I forgot. It's been like
I think
years.
so. Like that one wasn't for the Navy fundraising one, but that one and other ones were to get him in preparation for the Navy fundraising one. Right. And that's kind of where I'm at now, where he's like ran all these like an ultrathon runner or some shit like that. Like, and for me, it's just like when I hear about, I hear people say shit like when white people go out and they do shit like bungee jumping and like they do crazy like shit like that. It's like 50 Cent said it in his book, I believe, and he was like, black people usually call white people crazy for going out and like doing shit like that. And for us, we don't do and go look for crazy shit like that because we leave our house, nigga, and we got our head on a swivel. Like that's just the life we live. We don't gotta go look for dangerous shit, nigga. That's just our life. You know what I mean? That's just what we in. So we don't go looking for that shit. And so for me, it's like it almost seems like he was trying to like look to like prove to somebody like. For me, if you're willing to go put yourself in a point where you can literally almost kill yourself, be paralyzed, can't walk again, it's almost like you can't do nothing else for your family. It's like you have to be very comfortable of some sort, you know what I mean? Like for me, I would never go put myself in a point where I could potentially hurt myself, where I couldn't work ever again, because I'm not stable enough for that right now. You know what I'm saying? So like if he's to the point where he can legit fucking just go put himself through this fucking physical and mental abuse consistently over and over again. He knows that if he fucking gets to the point where he never walks again, never fucking can take care of himself, he's gonna be okay. I don't have that same thought process, just like a lot of other million Americans.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to want to go just do all this crazy shit just because he wanted to prove how tough he was as a man, that nigga had to be comfortable, bro.
Yeah, I don't think it, for me, when I think about it.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. My interpretation, when I think he, at his core, he lives life to the fullest, and I believe it's his call to push people to do that same thing.
Right.
And when you think about his childhood and what he's been through, he was dyslexic, and he couldn't.
I'm still dyslexic, nigga. I get shit backwards all the goddamn time. That shit, I sound retarded.
He didn't excel in school.
Neither did I.
And he was abused as a child.
So was I. And
all this other stuff. And what he did was proved, he did what he needed to do to show up in this world. And that means living. He was an extreme athlete. He had to break down his mind. He had to figure out how to navigate through the world. So he had to study through his stuff, and he had to write out everything that he read in his packets and what have you. He did what he needed to do to be successful. And I think that's an example of that. I don't think he did it to show that he's macho. I think he did it to prove to himself that he can accomplish whatever he set his mind to. And that showed up in the form of him being the toughest man on earth or whatever in the world. Right. That's just like you showing up with your podcast and HandCrafted and all this other stuff. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just played out differently, and that's what makes the world beautiful.
For me, it was just like it was hard to listen to because it was just like, this nigga keep complaining. Shut the fuck up.
But you had other things going for you. I mean, you had a white gentleman that saying the N-word and asking questions, and he's coming into this world. Yeah. I think that I didn't even think about it like that, and maybe that's why I didn't finish the whole book.
Bro, it was like first chapter. It was like nigger. I was like, what?
But then I didn't listen to the book until after I heard his interviews. That's why I know about everything else. That's why my perspective is still I have to re-listen to his interviews and even the book to formulate a full opinion on it.
I mean, I'm not like I said, I'm not done with the book. But even when I was explaining because there was a couple people at my job that have read this book, and basically I was talking to one of the gentlemen. He was saying. When I was explaining my perspective, he was like, I didn't think about it like that.
I didn't either until you mentioned the whole white gentleman and the whole N-word thing.
Yeah, bro. And no, he was just saying like the whole perspective of like this dude's like getting paid for all this time. Like he's getting paid to become the man.
No, well, he was.
Like in boot camp, you getting paid for that shit.
You have to show up first. You have to get fit in order to do that.
No, I feel that. No,
you have to make a decision, and he did that when he was sitting on his couch drinking 300 pounds, drinking a milkshake, and after he got done spraying for cockroaches, he's like, I need to activate. And this is what activating looks like for me: running 50,000 miles, in the rain. I still, I'm not there.
No, I don't. Like, I personally, so for me, I know what it's like to like want. Like, for instance, when I first started going to the gym, I would do the bike first.
Yeah,
and that's how I get in the gym. When you go to the gym, if you really want to see progress, you need to get your heart racing.
Yeah,
if your heart isn't like pumping, you're not like. It's not that you're not doing anything. Any type of motion's good for the body.
Yeah.
But as far as like building muscle or losing weight or something, you need to get your heart racing. If your heart's not racing, you're not really doing much. And so like for me, when I first started, I would start off on the bike. I started off at 5 miles. I think my max got up to like 9.7 or something. Almost, I think it was like 10 miles or something like that within like 25 minutes or some shit like that. I could be exaggerating. I don't know. But it got to a point where the bike wasn't giving me that burn that I wanted. It started to become easy.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up pulling a muscle from doing the bike. And so while I had like a pulled fucking hamstring, I ended up not even being able to go to work. Doctor told me and suggested me I shouldn't work out. But I was like, nigga, I can't just sit at home, nigga. Being this big is not good.
Yeah.
And so I asked him what I could do. And he was like, you just need to not be able to do that motion of the bike or whatever. And I was like, so I can walk, right? And he was like, yeah. So I took my ass to the goddamn treadmill.
Can we jump back to activating?
That is definitely activating.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like I just feel like when I heard it, it just for me it sounded like a bunch of complaining at first.
Was that before? So you haven't heard any of his interviews or anything, right?
No, I haven't heard anything. I didn't really know about this guy. I mean, I've heard people mention him, but I've never really.
So when you first listened, how did you know that the narrator was white? The guy.
No.
Okay.
I had no idea. When I got the book, I didn't I thought it was gonna be him. Every Audible book that I've gotten has been usually the author. Charlemagne's book is him.
Yeah.
The 50 Cent's book is him.
Uh-huh.
There's this one by Humble the Poet called Unlearn. That's a really great book. It's like 100 True Tales or something like that. It's a great book or some shit like that. But yeah, that's another book. It's by him. So this is the first one that's ever. So it's supposed to be like a podcast read along book.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. And another thing he's saying in the book is just like, if you get bothered by the word getting called the N-word, like you're mentally not strong and blah blah blah, and it's just like who the fuck are you to tell somebody what their experience should be? You know what I'm saying? Like there's niggas that been seeing people get killed, like hate crimes and shit like that. Like hearing that word, can literally trigger somebody into having a fucking heart attack, spasms, all that shit. Like for me, when I hear it, it literally it makes my heart start to race. You know what I'm saying? So for you to tell somebody, oh, you're not mentally strong, it must have been real nice to be able to get called a nigger and go live in your big ass house, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It would have been easy for me too. Go chill with my mom and my brother and go play in my big ass house with my pool and all that shit.
Didn't he say that impacted him though? As far as
No, he said basically he basically said it's not a big deal and it shouldn't be a big deal.
I would re-listen to the interview, or I have to.
Bro,
yeah,
I'm currently listening to this book. I can go back and I'll listen to a different chapter. But basically, he's saying
it's not wild.
He's saying basically hearing the N word and letting that stop you.
Yeah,
is like I've never let it stop me from anything. You know what I'm saying? But to say that it shouldn't bother me or you can't control how that shit makes you feel, bro.
Yeah.
That's some. I don't know that shit. I don't know. For me, he didn't live the average life of a inner city kid. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't. I mean, he stated that. He said it
was
nice on the outside, but on the inside it was broken. I think
how many? Do you think there's more kids from our community that can relate to his story? There's not a lot of people that relate to that shit, bro. I feel
that's an example as far as being.
So who is he trying to inspire? Ain't the book supposed to be inspirational?
Everybody.
Okay.
I was inspired.
I mean, a lot of people were.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not. It sounds like I don't like the guy. It's not that. It's just I don't know.
I think you should invite him in for an interview.
He
to ask those questions.
He'd probably fucking charge me. I ain't got no money right now.
No, you never know. You won't know until you ask. These are my questions. Would you be open to doing an interview? You know,
I would definitely write him. I would definitely do that. But I don't. It's not that I don't like to do it. He does some dope shit. It's just it might be just the fact that I heard that white boy say.
That's what I think it is. I think that's what it is,
bro. That shit pissed me off, and he just having this happy-go-lucky conversation with the mother.
I think that's what it is at the root. I think that's what it is.
That shit low-key. It was like you could at least took your voice and inserted it and be nigger. And it would be like David Goggins saying it or something like that.
That's insensitive. Or at least have a statement at the beginning.
I don't know, bro. That shit is. I don't know. It really bugs the fuck out of me, bro.
Yeah. What about? Yeah.
And it's like the white boy had to say, bro, it makes me really uncomfortable to say this, and he just was like, yeah, bro, didn't really
well, at least he acknowledged it. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, he's acknowledging this is wrong. You know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure after having this conversation, or you talking to him, they might not make that decision. They'll think differently.
I don't know
as far as their approach.
I mean,
that's the world, man.
I feel like I'm weird because it's nobody else had that same complaint. And
I'm pretty sure other people did.
Do you think
but
so?
now, yeah, and maybe that's why I didn't make it through the whole thing.
No.
I only listened to the first chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, All right, we'll get off of David Goggins. Yeah. He's very inspirational. He went through a lot. He pushed his body mentally and physically. I don't think I could be running and shit on myself and just keep running and shit like that.
Or shin splints.
Broken ankles and like, man, he's a stud, bro. Like he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I could do half of the physical shit. I think I could mentally. I think I could.
You won't know until you try. And I think that's one of the things that he inspires folks to do.
Absolutely. For sure. And he was saying that people, a lot of people like try to do so. Like, I'm going to do this too and blah, blah, blah. He's like, man, don't do it for me. Do it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're doing it for me, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with that. So,
yeah.
Don't let my judgment ever change something. I hope people read the book and get your own opinion from it. Just for me, it's just when I don't know. I've had my own experience with that word, and I think I just might be jaded at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
with the end.
Yeah. And then I think the manager and the other guy that I was talking to about it, they're just like, man, just if you can, just keep going. It gets better. Like it's not like that the whole time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And just for me, another thing for me is just like for somebody to be able to push themselves to keep like putting themselves through this physical pain and mental pain. Like I said, you just have to be very comfortable, secure. There's not too many people that can just be like, all right, nigga, I'm about to go train for this fucking triathlon with broken ankles and shin splints and all this other stuff. Like, nigga, I got a family I got to take care of. Yeah. So maybe he made some great investments. I don't know. I didn't hear about any of that shit. So for me, it's just like you didn't have as hard life as you made it seem. Is honestly what it seems like to me. Honestly, I could just be tripping, but his childhood and life didn't seem as bad as he is trying to make it seem, in my opinion.
Physical abuse, mental abuse, to the point where you can't even focus in school.
Like, bro, that's like the fucking average inner city black kid's life.
Okay.
But he was going back to I'm just saying, like, if I know people with that same experience, if they could do that shit in a mansion, they'd take that shit.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying.
I don't think so.
Nah, you're right.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't know. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. The environment's extreme. Like I said, when we were growing up, we lived on 15th and Deacon in the quote-unquote hood, shots and stuff like that in the 90s. Yeah. Nothing changed. And then we moved to a duplex. Nothing changed. Yeah, nothing changed in our household. And then we moved out to the boonies on 5 acres and 8-bedroom house or what have you. Right. Internally, nothing changed. And within it was a healthy environment. Right. You know? Right. So, I think environment matters. And I think it matters a lot.
For sure, but I mean, Dad wasn't beating on Mom and shit like that.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's like. But what I'm saying is like, I'm saying people with that environment that were in the hood that are living in piss and shit and got these terrible ass experiences is just like, I don't, like, maybe they would still complain about it, but I feel like they'd still find the good out of life. For me, I think, it seems like he didn't look at the good he had out of life, and it was just a lot of like, my life was terrible. I went through this, I went through that. It's like, nigga, you had a lot of good though too.
I mean, you can say you have a roof over your head and you have food, but at the same time, if someone else's actions is stopping you from really seeing who God's called you to be or tapping into your gifts or what have you, in a home. When I think about my kids, I tell Misha all the time, we need to be creating an experience where Vivian and Eldrin can explore their gifts. If our arguing or our disagreements is preventing that from happening, that development from happening, that's a problem. And that's where you reach depression or suicide, or you'll have negative outcomes. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter if you're living in a mansion or living on the street. We've had cousins that have been homeless, and like one of our cousins felt like he was free living on the streets and living in roach-infested houses and stuff like that. And that's because his home life was bad, you know? Yeah. So I think environment matters. It doesn't matter if you have millions of dollars or.
But I feel like it also has to do with like because you're like, my idea of being free. Like, I'm free right now, nigga. Like, I got 3 cars. All of them got insurance on them.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job. My wife got the job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to create my own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking don't have a shit ton of debt. I'm trying to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people might see, oh, you tied down by all these bills. But me, that's free, bro.
But you weren't there 10 years ago.
But I'm not saying that, but like, the idea for somebody's idea of being free is just to go through life and have no type of goals is, like, how the fuck did you get there? Like, I got this dude, like, there's a dude that I work with, and he talks about how he's worked for this job for 18 years or something like that, with no progression, though. Like, for me, like, I get paid to play video games and sit on my ass, like, and he brags about that shit, like, that's some type of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn, nigga, like, I could never go around trying to brag to people about how long I've worked at a job and I get paid to sit on my ass. Like, if you getting paid to test video games and, like, different shit, like, that's different. That's a little, like...
Yeah.
But you're at a job where you're literally supposed to be working,
mm-hmm.
and you're sitting on your ass doing nothing, and you brag about how you get paid to play video games at work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something, like, to your mental. How do you get there?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to a point where you've almost just, like, given up on life and just, like, accepted this shit as your reality?
Mm-hmm.
I guess is what I'm asking. Like, I have a lot of friends. Like, even when I first wanted to start this, I wanted to do this with a lot of my friends,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of them basically was like, "Nigga, you're tripping. Like you are like who the fuck?" It was always like, "Nigga, who the fuck you think you are?"
Mm-hmm. And then even after you started, people were upset that you're actually doing it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's almost like, oh, this nigga shit. Like, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, like, for instance, like, a lot of the quality and shit, like, I use a free editor at the moment. Like, I don't pay. I haven't, like, this is just for this basic setup. I think I'm in like 3 bands, probably a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And
then if I go to like my other shit, the HandCrafted, I'm in a couple bands too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's still why, while paying bills,
mm-hmm.
like, trying to live my life,
mm-hmm.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'm getting no help. It's just me and wifey, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I thought if I could do this like with a group of people,
mm-hmm.
and we all put in on this shit, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine how this shit would be going if I had other people, other creative ideas and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I need to touch on this especially before we go. We probably run out of time soon, but we got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, as of now, I kind of do shit solo at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple co-hosts, but then I think people's lives just kind of got in the way, and shit just kind of like dwindled. Like, they just don't have the time. And I feel like me and my other co-hosts, there's something that I said that offended him, and I think I want to on air apologize to him for. Me saying, referring to things as like Brent World or Brent Land,
mm-hmm.
I think he took that as if he's living in my world and
mm-hmm.
shit like that. And like, for me, it's just like, that's not the type of person I am. I'm not saying like, this ain't like, when I say Brent Land, it's not like Never Land. It's not like a physical place, you know what I'm saying? For me, when I say Brent World or Brent Land, I'm speaking specifically only about my thoughts,
mm-hmm.
my thought process,
mm-hmm.
where I go to create in my head, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was one of those kids that, as I was younger, I don't really think, I didn't know how to think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people were like, "Did you know how to think?" Like, no, like, so like, I was very sheltered, and then like, everything I was told what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Nigga, you weren't even supposed to go in the refrigerator without asking. You know what I'm saying? Don't use the toaster, don't use the microwave, nigga. Everything you do, nigga, you better ask. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everything that I did, nigga, I was kind of told what to do.
Yeah.
And eventually, my body grew before my mind did.
Yeah.
And my family then kind of treated me like, "Nigga, you big as hell. You don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do?" No, bitch, I ain't been told. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do not know.
Yeah.
And so, like, there was a period of time where I literally was like the size of a man.
Yeah.
But literally had zero knowledge of anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You went from a size of a kid to the size of a man so quick.
Yeah.
But then you're like so sheltered and coddled to the point where you become this size, everybody expects you to act as your sides. And it's like, at what point was I supposed to be able to do such? So as I grew up, I still never knew how to think. And until I was like, maybe, I think it was 18, 19, it was like, oh shit, Christianity might not be real. And that's the first time I like started to be able to literally think for myself, is when I started working at this gas station I used to work at. And it was like, once I actually started to think, my thoughts started to scare me in a way. You know what I'm saying? So like, I became that person that was like, I had to have the light on. I had to have the radio going. I had to have the TV on. Always had to have some type of thing to distract my mind, because my thoughts became too much. Because for so long, I had never been able to really think. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like, once I was, it was just like, this shit just came crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like, it almost felt like for a while, like a nigga could have been schizophrenic for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit was crazy. And so like,
when you say thoughts, what do you mean by that?
Like, just like things in your head, like things that like when you see something, like I was listening to something before, I don't remember what it is, but it was like, try not to think. And it's almost impossible. Even when you're trying not to think, you're thinking about not thinking. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like, I'm just saying like, to like have an idea to see something, be like, what if this? What if that? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like extremes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the idea of thinking that Christianity wasn't real scared the shit out of me. Like, I literally thought the second that I thought that Christianity wasn't real, I was going to walk across the street and I was going to get hit by a car, and that was going to be the end of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those type of thoughts scare me. Like, I don't want to fucking go to hell. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to fucking live in a fiery pit. Like, what the fuck? Who wants to live like that? And like, so like my thoughts scared me. Like, you know what I mean? So when you start to think about things that aren't necessarily what people have told you for years, or like when you start to think for yourself, like all these possibilities come in your head. You know what I mean? That shit gives you anxiety. That shit can give you a panic attack. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I finally got to the point where I kind of started to embrace these thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I feel like, why I think so different from most people. Why my mind is very open. I can have a conversation with somebody that tells me they're raised to be racist and they're a very strong Trump supporter and just all the, you know what I mean? Like, I have my values and I believe in them, but I can also listen to somebody else's perspective and have a conversation. I'm not very, like, I don't live by one ideology. I don't live by one set of rules. I literally live my life based off of what I feel is right and wrong. Like, some of the values of Christianity, like giving back, becoming like, being like a good thing, like to the world, like trying to like be a missionary and try to bring peace and love into the world. Like, that is something that I believe in. Like, but for me, it's like, you can't forget all the other shit that's been done in the name of Christianity just because that's right now what it's supposed to be right now today. Like, you just can't do that. No one would accept that shit for Nazis. Why the fuck do we accept that for Christians? That's just how I think. But anyway, I got to a point where I was sitting here and my thoughts scared me and shit like that. Like I said, no one wants to go to jail. No one wants to die. No one wants, you know what I mean? And for me, my first thoughts started when I started to think other than religion and shit like that. Because that was my core. That's how I was raised. You know what I mean? So like, to go against that, like, it's like when I first told my family, like, I didn't like believe in God. It was, I definitely no. I believe in God. Don't do that. Don't do that. Agnostic, nigga. I believe in there's a higher power. I just don't know what it is. Yeah. And I don't feel like,
you don't believe in organized religion. That's what you said.
Fuck no.
Yeah. Yeah, because you think it's...
I mean, I believe... I would trust one religion more than another. Yeah. But even, like, when you think about Christianity, they tell you literally can't practice or look at anybody else's shit but mine. That's some controlling-ass shit. If you ever go sit down and talk to a Muslim or a Buddhist or whatever as a Christian, they would literally have a very open conversation with you about it. Try to go talk to a fucking Christian about being Muslim or... And see that if they try to fucking anoint your ass with some motherfucking oil or some shit. That religion is based off of control, period. We got that shit through slavery. It's been fucking rewritten and made for control, period. Back to or Breeze. We have to bleep that out. I'm sorry. Nothing I ever said was like you living in my own world. I feel like a lot of the things I do are based off of my own thoughts. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of contribution where, as far as like the creative piece, the financial piece, a lot of the things were my thoughts, my creative process. So when I say Brentland, I was thinking specifically of my thought process, not of this being my shit. This was ours. I felt like we did, like, anytime at the beginning, I used to send out pictures to everybody. Like, I always had people's input. I never moved like, nigga, this is my shit. You gonna do what I'm... You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, for me, the logo was a picture of me going like this. It was my emoji going like this. Yeah. But I felt uncomfortable making another nigga feel like he had to wear my emoji on his shirt. Like, nigga, you can put your own goddamn emoji on your shirt. You don't have to put me. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of motherfuckers that have been like, nah, nigga, that's the that's the logo. Yeah. You go rock it or you not go rock it. Yeah. I wasn't moving like that. I've never moved like that. Yeah. And so for him, it's just like our thought process and like the things that we care about and our overall agendas, I just don't feel like meshed. Yeah, yeah. So at this point, we just kind of separated. Got it. I mean, that doesn't mean that we can't come back together in the future, but for now, what I said offended him, made him feel some type of way, and I apologize. And I don't ever want him to feel like that, or any man to feel like that. So I just felt like it was best for us to go separate ways. And I just felt like I had to say that on air because I felt like I offended him on air. So I felt like I needed to make that public apology. And I just felt like I wanted to, if anybody else potentially thought that that's how I was coming across, I wanted to explain myself in the way why I said what I said. Right. And clear up the thought that I don't think of myself as this being mine and you living in my world. That's not what I meant whatsoever. Got it. But I appreciate you for coming by and chopping it up, bro. Yeah. We got to come back and do some more, bro. Yeah. We'll definitely talk. Congratulations on winning that seat, man. Yeah, thank you. How long is that? How long you going to be on? 4 years. 4 years. Full term, so 4 years. Oh, shit. Like, you're a real politician now. Okay. Okay, so next election, huh? Uh-huh, yeah. That's crazy. All right. That's what's up. All right, congratulations. Are you coming back? We going to do some more? Yeah, we got to get the rest of the brothers in. Like I said earlier, we should read a book and just review it together. I've been talking about this with Wifey for some time now. Yeah. I want to start a book club. I know that sounds stupid and cheesy, but that's just the type of shit that I like. But I want to do a book club. I want to find a book. We can do it on Audible. People can buy the book. And I want to get a book. Read a book once a month because you get an Audible credit every month. That means so every month we can get a book. And we just sit down and chop it up about a book, different perspectives. Yeah. Because I think very different from a lot of people. Obviously, we had a pretty robust conversation about David Goggins. Yeah. So, I'm down. All right, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you. Thank Wifey or Jen. Absolutely. All right, bro. I'll see you later. All right. Bye.
So breaking news, guys. Joe Biden is officially the next president.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Like, did you guys hear popping outside? That was like fireworks or gunshots or something. Because,
oh my god!
As soon as I got that, like, it happened like 15 minutes ago.
Oh, you should have dropped it.
You guys are really good at conversation.
You should have dropped it. That's crazy. Oh!
Yeah, and as soon as that happened, I heard pop, pop, pop. Or, I don't know.
Get this little red motherfucker out here! And all you Trump supporters, don't say shit to me. Y'all, you think they're gonna try to do anything? Yeah, absolutely. You think so? Yes.